Hydrogen has long been promised as the clean energy of the future. That is because it could be the key to decarbonizing some very big parts of the economy that cannot really be electrified. Cement, iron, and steel production are three primary examples. So are long-haul trucking and aviation. But hydrogen is not easy or cheap to make. It has to be synthesized without creating carbon emissions. If not, then it is not a clean energy source. But the Inflation Reduction Act of 2022 created a special tax credit that could give hydrogen the boost that it desperately needs. This video continues our coverage of energy as it relates to business, finance, and economics. What does it mean for how we will get our energy in the future? What does it mean for climate change? What does it mean for transportation and construction? What does it mean for the economy? And what does it mean for the future of the United States? But before we get into all of that, please press the like button and leave us a comment below. We would love to hear from you. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you are notified of upcoming videos when they are released. So far, the so-called hydrogen economy has been just a pipe dream. A tax credit that was included into the recently enacted Inflation Reduction Act could change all of that. It could turbocharge the now tiny clean hydrogen industry to possibly become a multi-trillion-dollar industry within a few decades. The tax credit gives hydrogen producers $3 per kilogram to hydrogen generate using renewable energy and nuclear energy. The idea is to encourage hydrogen makers to create cleaner methods of synthesizing hydrogen. Although it is not widely known, hydrogen is currently used for making fertilizer. And it is used in a few other specialized industrial processes. But the overall market for hydrogen is tiny compared to the markets for oil and natural gas. Still, hydrogen is seen as a replacement for fossil fuels in the future. This is especially true in shipping, aviation, and heavy industries like steelmaking. Hydrogen could also be used as an energy storage medium. The new tax credit could also catalyze a whole new hydrogen industry to be created. As things stand now in 2022, 98% of all hydrogen is made from fossil fuels. All the current hydrogen producers want to produce clean hydrogen, explained Alina Teplinsky, spokesperson for the Hydrogen Initiative, a pro-hydrogen organization. The new Inflation Reduction Act law will make carbon capture more economically feasible. It will also reduce the carbon emissions from hydrogen production. Government authorities expect a wave of new companies developing cleaner ways to produce hydrogen. The goal is to replace fossil fuels with hydrogen in certain industries. The new law targets 80% of hydrogen production to be powered by renewables by 2050. This kind of industry transition will require $7 trillion to $8 trillion between 2022 and 2050. By then, the hydrogen economy is projected to create $3 trillion in annual revenue. About half of the hydrogen produced in the United States is used to produce fertilizer and ammonia. Since the hydrogen market is growing, there is even more motivation to decarbonize hydrogen production. The other half of hydrogen demand is for various industrial applications. Hydrogen has the highest amount of energy per unit of mass of any fuel in the world. When it is burned, it does not emit any carbon. Hydrogen can be converted into electricity in a fuel cell. Entrepreneurs and startups are expected to target long-haul trucking, seaborne shipping, and aviation as initial focus industries. Hydrogen is also expected to be a clean energy solution for iron and steel making, as well as cement production. If it weren't for climate change, we probably wouldn't be expanding into all of these new use cases for hydrogen, said Emily Kent, director of the Clean Air Task Force. In these cases, hydrogen would produce electricity using a fuel cell. Fuel cells combine hydrogen atoms and oxygen atoms to generate electricity. Battery electric trucks cannot be economical for long-haul trucking because the batteries needed to store enough energy for long-haul routes would be too heavy. Batteries large enough for long-haul trucking would also take too long to recharge. A fuel cell with a tank of hydrogen would weigh less. It would also occupy less space and could be refueled in a few minutes. It's possible that there will be huge breakthroughs in batteries or something else that would change things. But as it stands today, there aren't great solutions, Kent also said. Hydrogen can produce electricity when burned in a turbine just as natural gas is now. Currently, up to 20% hydrogen can be blended with natural gas burned in conventional natural gas turbines without needing to do any infrastructure changes, according to Kent. For higher blends of hydrogen or pure hydrogen, we'll likely need adjustments to the turbines and infrastructure, Kent added. There are companies working on 100% hydrogen-ready infrastructure where pure hydrogen can be burned in a turbine to produce electricity, Kent also noted. Using hydrogen as an energy storage medium will be critical as wind and solar are deployed nationwide. Wind and solar energy are variable due to environmental factors, such as wind blowing and sun shining. So renewable energy needs to provide a continuous, reliable supply of energy. Battery technology is improving rapidly. But batteries development has not yet reached the point where they can store enough energy to back up an electricity grid based fully on renewables. If you produce a ton of solar in the summer, and you want to store a bunch of it away for the winter, hydrogen can be stored for sort of that many months-long seasonal periods, noted Kent. It can also provide electricity back to the system when it's needed, Kent said. Hydrogen could also replace coking coal in the steel-making process. Most people do not know that steelmaking is a heavy emissions industry that is very difficult to decarbonize. Clean hydrogen is essential to decarbonize industrial processes that require temperatures above 752 degrees Fahrenheit. Examples include cement plants, glassmaking, and aluminum melting. Hydrogen is the most abundant element in the universe. But it can only be found in compounds here on Earth. Most of the hydrogen on Earth is combined with oxygen to form water. Separating water into hydrogen and oxygen is particularly energy-intensive and expensive. China produces the most hydrogen of any country as of 2022. 60% of the hydrogen production in China is powered by coal and 25% is powered by natural gas. Industrial gas companies Lind and Air Products are the largest hydrogen producers in the private sector. Almost all of the hydrogen produced in the US uses a process called steam methane reforming. In that process, natural gas reacts with steam at very high temperatures to create hydrogen. Natural gas is a fossil fuel and releases greenhouse gas emissions when it is burned. Natural gas also escapes directly into the atmosphere when it is gathered. And methane is far more of a greenhouse gas than even carbon. Almost a quarter of the hydrogen produced worldwide uses a process called coal gasification. Coal gasification reacts coal with oxygen and steam at high temperatures and pressures. Some companies are capturing the carbon dioxide emissions from gasification reactions and storing it in tanks underground. Hydrogen created using this process is called blue hydrogen. Electrolyzers can also be used to split a water molecule into hydrogen and oxygen atoms. Electrolyzers can be powered with almost any energy source. That includes solar or wind. Hydrogen created in this way is called green hydrogen. But only 1% of all hydrogen produced in the world today is made using an electrolyzer. Hydrogen can also be created using nuclear power. This is called pink hydrogen. The majority of the cost of producing hydrogen with electrolysis is the cost of the electricity that goes into it, said Kent. Making hydrogen with nuclear energy and steam will reduce the cost of clean hydrogen production, Kent told reporters. The Russian special military operation in Ukraine has raised the price of natural gas. Hydrogen made an electrolyzer powered by solar and wind and solar costs between $3 and $7 per kilogram. The tax credit from the new Inflation Reduction Act comes in here. The tax credit scales depending on whether the hydrogen produced is blue, pink, or green. The maximum tax credit of $3 per kilogram is for green hydrogen. The tax credit scales down proportionally based on emissions. But some tax credit is earned as long as the emission are less than current production techniques. The tax credit is an absolute game changer, Akshay Honati, the leader of EY's Sustainability Tax Division for the United States, told reporters. Now there's a credit available for someone to make that additional level of investment and be able to justify that level of investment to their stakeholders and shareholders, Honati also noted. The tax credit makes nuclear hydrogen financially competitive with fossil fuel-produced hydrogen, Honati said. The U.S. Department of Energy is trying to cut the cost of clean hydrogen to around $1 per kilogram within the next 10 years. Now, companies say to their shareholders, look, we can do this economically, today, Kent said. The 2021 infrastructure law included $8 billion to create regional hydrogen hubs across the country. Considering both laws, the U.S. could develop a clean hydrogen economy in less than a decade. But what do you think? Please press the like button and leave us a comment below. We would love to hear from you. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you are notified of upcoming videos when they are released. Please share this video on social media. Thank you for watching.